Imagine you have an absolute genius on your team, but every single time you teach them something new, they forget everything they've ever learned. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, that's one of the biggest, most frustrating problems in AI today. We're trying to teach it new tricks, but it keeps forgetting the old ones. It's a huge deal, but a brand new breakthrough from MIT might just be the answer we've been looking for.
I mean, really think about that. What if learning how to cook a new dish made you forget how to drive your car? Or picking up a new programming language completely wiped your memory of every movie you've ever seen? For us, that's just absurd. But for an AI, that's its reality every single day.
And this problem has a name that sounds just as dramatic as it feels: catastrophic forgetting. And trust me, it is a massive, massive roadblock for anyone who wants AI to be more than just a static one-trick pony. We need AI that can adapt, that can grow with us. But right now, almost every time we try to teach it something new, poof, its old skills can just completely collapse.
So how have we been trying to deal with this? Well, the two main methods we've been using have some pretty serious flaws. And it turns out they're the very reason AI has been stuck in this endless cycle of learning then immediately forgetting.
Okay, so path number one is called supervised fine-tuning, or SFT. You can think of this like giving the AI a giant textbook with an answer key and just forcing it to memorize everything. Path number two is reinforcement learning, or RL. This is a lot more like a game of hot or cold, where you give the AI little rewards every time it gets closer to the right answer all on its own.
Now, this slide right here gets to the absolute hearts of the problem. SFT, that memorization method, it's the main culprit behind catastrophic forgetting. When you force-feed it new answers, it just overwrites its old knowledge. It doesn't learn to reason, it just mimics. Now, RL is a bit smarter. It learns by doing, but its fatal flaw is huge. You have to be able to define success with a mathematical score. That's fine for winning a game of chess, but how do you give a mathematical score for writing a beautiful poem or coming up with a clever business strategy? You can't. It's impossible.
Okay, so this is where things get really, really cool. A team from MIT, the Improbable AI Lab, and ETH Zurich has come up with a brilliant new technique. It's called Self-Distillation Fine-Tuning, or SDFT for short, and it's designed to get the best of both worlds without the crippling downsides.
So here's the core idea, the big picture takeaway. SDFT completely flips the script. Instead of us being the teacher with an answer key or a reward system, the model learns from itself. It actually creates this internal feedback loop where it becomes its own teacher, its own mentor.
And the way it works is just so elegant. Check this out. First, you have a teacher version of the AI. It looks at a problem and some expert examples, and it figures out the logic to get to the right answer. Then you have a student, which is really just the same AI. Try to solve that exact same problem, but with no help, completely on its own. And here is the magic trick. The teacher gives feedback to the student, but not on the final answer, no. It gives feedback on the reasoning, the step-by-step thinking. So the student learns how to think like its best self.
All right, so it's a fantastic theory, a beautiful idea. But does it actually work when the rubber meets the road? Well, the researchers put SDFT through its paces with some seriously tough, real-world tests to find out.
And yeah, the results were pretty darn impressive. Take a look at this. On a really complex science Q&A test, the SDFT model scored over 70% accuracy. That's a full 4 points higher than the old SFT method. This isn't just about memorizing more facts. It's about genuinely understanding the material better.
But this slide, this is the one. This is the real breakthrough. This is catastrophic forgetting being solved right before our eyes. Look, after learning that new science stuff, the SFT model's ability on its old skills completely collapsed. It just forgot everything. But the SDFT model, its score is rock solid, totally stable. It learned a new skill and didn't have to sacrifice a single thing it already knew.
And to really push it, the team got creative. They invented a whole set of fictional 2025 natural disasters and fed them to the AI. The goal wasn't just to see if it could remember these new facts, but if it could reason with them. And the results were just, wow. The SDFT model was 98% accurate at answering questions that required it to connect the dots. The old SFT model, it just memorized the facts but couldn't apply them at all. This proves SDFT isn't just memorizing, it's actually thinking.
And they didn't even stop there. They taught the Model 3 completely different, really complex skills, one right after the other. Science, how to use software tools, and even medical reasoning. And the result was incredible. The model just kept getting better, stacking these new skills on top of each other with no drop in performance.
This is a huge step towards true lifelong learning.
So, we've gone deep on the science, but let's zoom out. What does this actually mean for the future of AI in the real world? Why does an AI that can actually remember and grow matter so much to all of us?
Well, for any business using AI, this is a potential game changer. Right now, most companies have what's called a model zoo, a whole collection of separate specialized AIs, each one an expert in just one thing. SDFT could be the end of that. Just imagine, one single evolving AI that learns, grows, and picks up new skills over time. This wouldn't just slash costs, it would create an AI that can finally adapt to our constantly changing world.
Now, of course, it's not a magic wand just yet. We have to be honest about the trade-offs. The SDFT process is slower, and it takes about 2.5 times more computing power than the old way. It also seems to work best on bigger models, we're talking 4 billion parameters or more, that are already pretty good at reasoning and can, actually be their own teacher.
But the vision here, the end goal, is just so incredibly powerful. As one of the MIT researchers, Adon Schenfeld, put it, this is about creating models that just keep improving with time. Think about that. Every time we use these tools, we're giving them new information. This technique could finally be the way we harness all of that to make our AI smarter and smarter, forever.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating final question to chew on. If catastrophic forgetting is truly on its way out, have we just unlocked the secret to machines that can learn for a lifetime? Are we standing at the very beginning of an era where AI doesn't just do what we tell it to, but actually evolves and gets better with every single thing it does? It's a pretty powerful idea.